Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and Mrs. Skerrit, Honorable Reginald Austri, Senior Minister and Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Edward Regis, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Business and Diaspora Relations, and Parliamentary Representative for the Grand Bay constituency, His Excellency Arnaz Ferrandez, Ambassador of the Republic of Cuba, spouse and other members of the Diplomatic Corps, other members, Honorable House, members of Cabinet, Permanent Secretaries, Mr. Christopher Timmins, Managing Director of MMCE Limited, Mr. Amo Thomas, Chairman of the Grand Bay Village Council, Father Branca John, Parish Priest of the Parish of St. Patrick, Ms. Anfia Kazimi, Ms. Lashata Laura, Ms. Alison Boston, other invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. On behalf of us here, the recipients and beneficiaries of this housing in Grand Bay this afternoon, would like to join with the Ministry of Housing as we celebrate this afternoon in the handover ceremony of these beautiful homes. We are going to ask Mr. Amo Thomas, the Chairman of the Village Council of Grand Bay, to give us a special welcome to the community of Grand Bay, Tetmon and Mountain. Mr. Thomas.
Honorable Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and Mrs. Skerrit, Honorable Reginald Austri, Senior Minister and Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Edward Regis, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Business and Diaspora Relations, and Parliamentary Representative for the Grand Bay constituency, other honorable members of Cabinet, Excellency Arnaz Fernandez, Ambassador of the Republic of Cuba, and spouse and other ambassadors, Reginald Savrin, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, other Permanent Secretaries, Mr. Christopher Timmins, Managing Director of MMC Limited, Father Branca John, Parish Priest, Ms. Anfia Kazimi, Ms. Lashata Laura, other invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. And this is the day significant day for all of us in this community and in the constituency of Grand Bay. That today will reveal a new beginning for our community, in that from here, with a visionary government, we are seeing the way ahead for our community in the line of further development. Ladies and gentlemen, a visionary government is installed and is in place, working on behalf of the entire population of this country. And there is no division and there is no victimization in the activities of our government. But ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon, the government will be handing over 30 homes to 30 recipients in the Grand Bay constituency. I want to just emphasize 30 homes to 30 recipients, 30 30. There is not 31, 30. And 30 recipients will receive a home, a key for an apartment. And I want to assure the community that better days are coming. On behalf of the Granby Village Council and the entire Granby community, I wish to welcome every one of you to this afternoon ceremony where we will experience what is soon to happen, the handing over of the keys to the individuals and the new apartments. But I want to urge the recipients that you have to bear in mind, you are going to be in a new setting, a new environment, and therefore you are going to have additional responsibilities because a new village is being developed in our community. And this village must be an example for the entire community. The visionary government of the Dominica Labour Party has revealed and is on the thrust of expanding our community and the entire country. And I believe out of this afternoon's exercise, we may hear more revelations, and I'm looking forward to hear what is to come for our community. And I know that I'm not afraid. I know the government is working. So on behalf of all of us in Granby and the entire constituency, I want to welcome you one more time to Granby, the land of late Honorable K. Charles, late Honorable John Fabian, late Honorable Dr. Oville Liverpool. Welcome everyone.
At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Christopher Timmins, Managing Director of MMCE Limited, who was responsible for the development of these housing units. Mr. Timmins.
Good afternoon, everybody. First, let me recognise the presence of the Honourable Roosevelt Skerritt, the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and Mrs Skerritt. The Honourable Reginald Ostry, Senior Minister, Minister for Housing and Urban Development. The Honourable Edward Regis, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Business and Diaspora Relations. Most importantly, the Parliamentary Rep for the Granby constituency. Other members of Cabinet, His Excellency Ulysses Varandas Fernandez, Ambassador of the Republic of Cuba, and his wife, and other honourable ambassadors, Mr. Reginald Severin, other permanent secretaries, Mr. Amor Thomas, Father Branca John, Mrs. Anthea Casimir, Mrs. Lachata Laurent, other invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. You know, it's a pleasure to be here today, to be able to hand over these new homes to their new residents. As you can see, we've changed the recipe a little bit here, be able to present you with a different look and identity from the development further up the hill in Bellevue, Chauvin. Hopefully, you'll find it a bit easier to be able to identify your own home and guide your visitors to your home as well. We must also thank the Prime Minister for his input into this as well. However, the basic recipe hasn't changed. So you're still getting a totally reinforced concrete, cast in situ building, including the roof. The windows are impact resistant and certified hurricane proof. The services are underground and Digicel is pre-wired. Should the main electricity grid be lost in the event of a climatic event, one generator can simply be plugged in at the entrance to the development and power will be available within a very short period of time. Solar water heating is provided to give a free supply of hot water. And of course we have the hotel quality bathroom fittings. Now, none of this would have been possible without the input of many people. And we must thank the Minister of Housing, Reggie Ostre, for his constant help. The staff of the Ministry of Housing, Dominica and Doasco. The customers and the staff of the port deserve a special mention for their assistance in the timely clearing of materials as well. Let's not forget the staff of Messrs CCECC, the main contractor, ably led by Mr. Chi and Mr. Yao Bin, who have as always, done a marvellous job, especially with the delays on material deliveries as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, I should also mention my own team of engineers from MMCE, most of whom have given up their annual leave to see the completion of the project. This project represents another milestone in our continuing partnership with the government that started after Erica and, with the passing of Maria, sought to reinforce the need to provide climate resilient buildings. We have to date completed over 1,000 new homes, 6 health centres, with 6 more in various states of construction. 2 very large community centres are now nearing completion, and the North Eastern District Hospital is on track to be operational at the end of April 2021. So the completion of this project is not the end, nor is it the beginning of the end, or even the end of the beginning, but merely a stepping stone in the path towards doing our bit in helping your government achieve its aim to make Dominica the world's first climate resilient nation. So, thank you again for your patience in waiting for these new homes. We sincerely hope you will enjoy living in them, and as we hand over our babies to you, we trust that you will look after them as the responsibility is passed on to you. As always, if there are any minor problems, do not hesitate to let us know. They will be rectified immediately. And one final thing is the external street lighting will be installed tomorrow. Thank you very much.
At this time, I would like to invite to the podium Ms. Anfia Kazemi, who will share with us her own personal experience. Ms. Kazemi.
Good evening, everyone. Let me acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit and his wife, Mrs. Melissa Skerrit, the Honorable Reginald Ostry, Senior Minister and Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Edward Regist, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Business and Diaspora Relations, and Parliamentary representative for the Granby constituency. His Excellency Ulysses Arans Fernandez, honorable members of Cabinet, other permanent secretaries, Mr. Christopher Timmins, Managing Director, MMCE Limited, Mr. Amor Thomas, Chairman of Granby Village Council, Father Branca John Parish Priest, Ms. Lashatal Laura, other invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us all rejoice and be glad in it. Today I feel blessed, as it is with great joy and gratitude that I stand before you. When the late Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt, Douglas, and Pierre Charles, along with their colleagues, promised us 5,000 homes, they were ridiculed and criticized by many. Now, I can gladly testify that I am a proud beneficiary of one of the many promises made by these men. As a single parent, having to face the hurdles of also being a tenant was overwhelming and challenging. No more will I face eviction, nor walk around with a saddened and heavy heart, yearning to own a home. The exhilaration that I now feel is profound. Occasionally, I was approached by one of the recipients who would ask, and I quote, "So, kita l'église ke dit pour nous, no?" Which meant, when are we finally going to receive our homes? My answer to her was, "Cessez patience." Eh bien, cessez, finalement, jodia, l'église dit pour nous. I stand here speaking on behalf of all the other recipients, and it would be remiss of us if we were to forget our past parliamentary representative, Honorable Justina Riviere, who heeded our plights. Also, fervent applause to our present parliamentary representative, Honorable Minister Edward Regis, who assumed the mantle and worked tirelessly to ensure that the project came to fruition. Due to the hard-working men and women led by the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, many of us Dominicans can say our burdens have decreased profusely, especially in the times of adversity. My family and I would also like to thank the Dominica Labour Party and all the other entities involved in the accomplishment of this project. Long live the Dominica Labour Party. May God continue to guide the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, and his cabinet with much wisdom and knowledge to further aid in the development of our beloved country, Dominica. I thank you.
Ms. Gemaline John is also a recipient who will share with us. Let's welcome to the podium, Ms. Gemaline John.
Good afternoon to my Prime Minister and his wife, Ms. Melissa Skerrit, Minister of Housing, and other ministers of Cabinet. Good afternoon. 3 years ago, Hurricane Maria hit our island, and it was one of the most terrible experiences I have gone through. I can remember I sitting in a down cupboard with my children and my blind mother for hours until passage of Maria. I moved into a storeroom and have been living there since, until Mr. Edward Regis made my dreams come true by blessing me with a home. So indeed, I stand here grateful as ever. I thank the Almighty Father, my Prime Minister, my power, Mr. Edward Regis, Mr. Austri, and all who played a part. I pray that God give Mr. Edward Regis and my Prime Minister long life, prosperity, and wisdom. I assure you that this key I am receiving today will be forever treasured. Once again, I thank you.
As we continue, we'd like to invite Mr. Cecil Gabriel to also share with us. Miss Cecil Gabriel.
my Honorable Prime Minister and his wife, and to Mr. Edward Regis and all his cabinet, and Mr. and everybody. I cannot call everybody, I have to say everybody. Everybody. All his cabinet and everybody. I want to thank the Lord. I want to thank God for helping me. Because if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be standing there. Father Jesus, I call in on you to help me, guide me, and to protect me. Mr. Regis, I want to thank you. I have got mouth to praise you. I have got things to tell you, but God will take care of you. And my minister and his wife and all the other cabinet and Reginald Austria, I can never forget you. I just want to thank God. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Tomorrow will be greater than today. You God bless no one else. I want to thank God for today. Because they are two for me to go in my home. I tired cry. Only God knows. Only God knows. Thank you, Jesus. I just want to thank all of all you in Jesus' name. Amen.
At this time, I would like to invite Ms. Alison Boston to share with us a rendition.
Good evening, everybody. Well, I don't want to say too much because my colleagues and the other recipients already said basically everything you need to hear. But I would just like to bless everyone with this song because it's really indeed a moment in time. I want to thank the Honorable Parliamentary, Mr. Regis, for welcoming me back to the community of Granby. Each day I live, I want to be a day to give the best of me. I'm only one, it's not alone. My finest day is yet unknown. I broke my heart for every gain to taste the sweet. Oh, I face the pain. I rise and fall, yet through it all, this much remains. Give me one moment in time when I'm racing with destiny. And in that one moment of time, I will be, oh, I will be free. Oh, and I will be free. Thank you very much. I wanted to do another number with music, but it wasn't possible. But some of you may remember this song from a couple years ago, so I'll just do it a cappella style. L'aime t'es piti, cadence t'es qu'à jouer, j'habite t'es qu'à chanter, tout le monde t'est obligé de danser. Moi, m'fais l'idée, pour moi ça chanter. Musique cadence influence, et moi j'ai que j'aurais qu'à bouger, j'aime moi. Moi-même, je cadence qu'à monter, moi dis musique pour danser, moi dis le cadence qu'à rouler, fais-moi changer. Notre la musique cadence t'es qu'à oublier, moi dis moi t'es qu'à danser, moi dis le cadence qu'à rouler, moi-même envie, oui yeah. Thank you very much.
We all know him well. He has been in the hymn in leadership here in Granby constituency for a while. We're going to invite him to share with us as the Honorable Parliamentary Representative of the Granby constituency, Mr. Edward Davis.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Let me say a special welcome to the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit and his beautiful wife, Honorable Melissa Skerrit. Also, let me welcome to Granby, Honorable Reginald Austrie, Minister for Housing. Also, other members of Cabinet who are here in large numbers this afternoon. Thank you so much, colleagues, for having turned out so very well this afternoon. Let me also recognize His Excellency, the Ambassador for Cuba here in Dominica. Also, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Housing, our Chairperson, Mr. Reginald Savre, and other Permanent Secretaries who are here this afternoon. Mr. Christopher Timmins, maybe we can extend citizenship of Granby to you, Mr. Timmins. Absolutely. I think a wonderful gentleman who has been responsible for our development here today as the director of MMCE. Mr. Amor Thomas, the chairman of the Granby Village Council, as well as other members of the Village Council who are here today. And I also see the clerk of the council, Ms. Vanya Remy, is also here. Father Branca John, parish priest here in St. Patrick's, who led us in the opening prayer. All the recipients, but let me single out Ms. Anfia Kazimi, Ms. Cecil Gabriel, and of course Ms. Gemaline John, the three of whom have spoken to us here this afternoon. I also need to recognize Ms. Alison Boston, who sang so beautifully this afternoon for us. This is a superstar. This is a product of Granby. Let me also recognize Ms. Lashata Laurent, who will deliver the vote of thanks this afternoon, a true patriot herself. Other invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I prepared a text to speak this afternoon, but then I put it aside because I said I want to speak to you briefly from the heart. Because this afternoon, although I feel that I've always been a strong man, I am almost moved to tears for the many people who will benefit here today. So many of them, in fact, all of them are well-deserving. All of them are well-deserving. And we only got a slight insight into the experiences of some of them. We heard from Anfia. We heard from Gemaline, my dear friend from Montaigne. We heard from Anfia, and we heard from Cecil. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, my dear friends. Because many of these people were really living in deplorable conditions, very deplorable conditions. And I'll try to maybe talk to a few of them, talk to a few of their experiences later on. But my dear friends, the Spirit of the Lord is upon all of us. He has sent me to proclaim good news to the poor, to proclaim freedom to prisoners, recovery of sight to the blind, and to set the oppressed free. This is a quote from the book of Luke, the Gospel of Luke, chapter 4 and verse 18. And this is one of my favorite quotes from the Holy Bible, as it speaks to my disposition in regards to my stewardship as a politician. Because today, my dear friends, poor people are being made rich. Poor people are being made rich. And you know why I say that? Because each of these apartments cost $400,000, my dear friends. The entire development here cost $12 million. So the poor are made rich this afternoon, my friends. Today, those who were suppressed under rent for many years, they are set free. They were almost like prisoners under rent, my dear friends. For years, I would have come to me even long before I was a Parliament. Many of them would have come to me and say, how can you help me? And especially when I became Parliament, many times I had to dip my hand in my pocket to help, just to help. And I did this with love and affection and with a desire that one day they would be free from the prison of rent, my dear friends. Today they are. They are free. Blind people, literally blind people, they are not going to see. I hope they see in this new disposition. But Germaline will tell you that her mom is blind, living in what she calls a storeroom, but what I call an open cellar. And her mom prays every day for a new day, to see a new day. Today, her mom will see a new day out of this storeroom, my dear friends. My dear friends, some who lived in oppressive relationships, today they are free. Today they are free again. Abusive relationships, having to live at the home of a man who did not appreciate their value. Today, many single mothers are free, my dear friends. That is what we are doing today. That is what we are experiencing today. And you know what? There are many more out there who will not receive a key today, and that bruises my heart. But the 30 who will receive, I am certain that they are going to be appreciative of it, my dear friends. And that warms my heart. We need many more apartments, my dear friends. Many more. But I am confident that the Dominica Labour Party, of which I am part of, will continue the development process here in the Grand Bay constituency. And you know why I know that? Because, my dear friends, whatever Labour has promised, Labour has delivered, my dear friends. Whenever Labour promises, Labour delivers. And so those who are not confident because they have not seen the groundbreaking for a new development, let me assure you that the rest of the apartments will come because the promise was made. And if you don't believe me, I'm certain that the Prime Minister and the Minister of Housing will speak to it. You can listen to them instead. But you can be assured that as parliamentary representative, I will continue to advocate for the development of our community. And all my colleagues sitting here this afternoon will tell you that when it comes to Grand Bay, I fight. I fight every day. I do not give up because I love this community and I've always loved this community, and I will continue to advocate on your behalf. It doesn't matter how small, how big the needs are, I will continue to work in the best interest of the people of Grand Bay, my dear friends. Because I've said it before, and I have taken a lot of blame for that. And maybe I should not say it. I am a Grand Bayan long before I am a Dominican, my dear friends. I love this community. And that is why I brought myself, with your help, to this position. I don't come here because I want to be powerful or I want to step on the toes of others. I have only come here to be of service. Service, which I have done throughout my life. And so, I want to say to you this afternoon, I am extremely excited for the people who will benefit this afternoon. I love each and every one of them. And those who will not get this afternoon, I also want to assure you that when that time comes, you will get to. I will make sure of it, that you get to. As long as I am here, you will get to. Because you know what? We have to rejoice with those who are getting today. so that when your time comes, we will also rejoice with you. Let me tell you, my dear friends, it's only Jesus I know who was able to multiply 2 fish and 5 loaves to feed 5,000 people. I cannot do it. I am not Jesus. I can't. And so I know that there are demands, great demands. And the most I can do is continue to advocate on your behalf, and I will do that. That is my job to do. I will do it. So, my dear friends, I just want to speak to the experiences that I have had with a few people. We have Lashata there. Lasha, how are you? Good. Lasha is a Labour Party patriot, my dear friends, who has gone from Grand Bay to Jubla, all over the country, promoting the Dominica Labour Party. Lasha deserves a house this afternoon. Not just because she's a Labourite, but because she's a single mother who has struggled with rent for years. And Lash, I am happy that you get in a house this afternoon. My dear friends, you will remember Anfia, who delivered a speech not long when we broke ground in Center. And this afternoon she came again. She came again and delivered a wonderful speech. But Anfia has been a struggling single mother for years too. And Anfia deserves an apartment. Where Claudia? Claudia, where are you? Let the people see you, Claudia. All right? Claudia has been in a relationship that has not always been the best. We know that. And so this afternoon, Claudia will feel free and she will feel better about herself. She will raise her confidence, my dear friends. You heard from Gemma, but Gemma did not give you the full story. If you see where Gemma lives in Morton, it will make you cry, my dear friends. Gemma, her blind mother, and 6 children live in an open cellar. No doors, no windows, it's leaking, cool water in it, my dear friends. Gemma deserves an apartment. Where are you, James? Absolutely. And I can go on and on and on and on. Where's Janita? My girlfriend. Janita, you shy this afternoon. If you see where Janita lives, with all her children, in a one space. I'm sorry for putting all the business outside like that, but I have to make the point. I have to tell people why these are the people who are beneficiaries this afternoon. Janita lives in a place that we just put some materials together, and it's rat infested, but she lives there with her children. Today, Janita is going to receive a comfortable place to stay. And you cannot deny that, my dear friend. And where my friend Clarissa, where are you? You know I'll talk about you. Where are you, Clarissa? All right. Okay, so there's one Clarissa, and then there's another Clarissa. Where Clarissa Charles? Where are you? Are you shy today? They're shy. These are all my people. Clarissa, when I went, I thought that I knew Granby, honestly speaking. But when I was a candidate for election, I visited Clarissa's family. And those of you in Tetlale, you know where Clarissa lives in, with her father and her sister and several people. Messieurs, place là pas bon pièce. The place not good. Those of you who know, or you know the place not good. And so if Clarissa gets a house today, we should rejoice with her. These are the people receiving the houses this afternoon. We did not select people who could help themselves. We selected people whom we know need the help. Where Nenesh? Nenesh? Yes, sir. Nenesh lives in a house that is not comfortable at all. Nene's daughter, where my friend Danisha. Where Danisha? Okay? Danisha is the only shelteree here in Grand Bay still, since Maria. She's the only one living in a shelter still. Because she can't do better. And all you know, Dan. Who took connect Dan? You understand? Dan need a place to stay. When I saw Dan sleeping Tetlali the other day, I said, Dan need a place to stay. And so my heart is happy to provide housing for these people, my dear friends. These are the people that we're providing the housing for. So when some people want to criticize and have so many things to say, tell them, God bless them, and we forgive them. We forgive them because they know not what they do. So my dear friends, I put my neck on the block for you, each and every one of you, because I believe that you are deserving of this. We can't go through all 30. You understand? Parfait mon honte. Entendez-moi? Parfait mon honte. Live in peace with each other. Live as family. Take care of each other's children. And do not quarrel and fight. You're going to be living right next to the secondary school. Be an example. Be the best that you can be, my dear friend. No. Behave yourselves, my dear friend. And I will come to see you off and on. Okay? I will come to see you off and on to make sure that you are okay, that you're living well. And we will have meetings and we will talk to each other, and if you have problems, then we can look to see how we can solve those problems. But I love each and every one of you, and I look forward to us building a model community here. Now, PM, I don't know how this is going to work, but freeness is what it is. I don't know how it's going to work, but you have to make some kind of contribution towards the maintenance of this place, my dear friend, no matter how small. Because, as I told you, this is $400,000 for each apartment. All you went there on Sunday, all you see how nice it's looking. All right, all you love it. You would never be able to build a house for $400,000. And so therefore appreciate it and love it. And give your thanks to the government of Dominica, not to Ed, but to the government of Dominica, to the Prime Minister, to the Minister of Housing. Because they are the ones who put it up for you to benefit, my dear friends. They are the ones. I only represent the government. Okay? I only represent the government. But you have to show your appreciation and your love. And when that time comes, stand up for the Dominica Labour Party and the government of Dominica. Stand up firm. Do not look back. Make sure that you support the people who support you, my dear friends. Do not bite the hand that feeds you. And I don't have to tell you that all of you are labor rights. All of you. But do not lose your way. Do not lose your way, because over the next 4 years or so, some people might lose their way because things are not easy. These are difficult times. And you might want things that you do not get, things that I cannot provide for you. But stay solid, stay firm. Every time you walk through that door, my dear friend, be thankful, be grateful, my dear friend. And know that you were selected and you received. But I don't know, I don't want to do this, but you know, I'm tempted. Every time I stand at a platform like this, every time I stand behind a podium, I want to shout something. I want to say something. But I will say this. Your tomorrow and mine must be greater than today. Your tomorrow is absolutely greater, my dear friend. And that is why I will say it. Labour! 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 Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Honorable Ed. Let's give him a round of applause. At this time, I would like to welcome to the podium the Honorable Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Reginald Austri.
You know, I've done a lot of this all over the country, but I've never felt under so much pressure than this one. But after that kind of speech by Ed, then what else can I say? You know, except for take my seat and let the Prime Minister conclude the ceremony. But it would be rich of me to come to Granby, a community that I love so much, a community that I have so much in common with, and we can talk a little bit about that. Not to have a conversation, a short one at that, with the residents of Granby. Let me recognize our Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, other cabinet colleagues, Chairman of the Granby Village Council and other members of the council, Christopher Timmins from MMC, Father Branca John, the residents of Granby, the ministry staff, the Ministry of Housing and staff of the Ministry of Housing. I recognize a number of PSCs and other senior public officials, members of the diplomatic corps, our friend from Cuba, Venezuela, China. They're all here with us to celebrate, and for good reasons, because when we embark on this journey, some 16 years ago, it was these champions who were behind us and pushing us. I want to say a special recognition to the wife of the Prime Minister, Mrs. Skerrit, and I must mention Dr. Darrow. Anytime it comes to housing, you can't miss Dr. Darrow, because Dr. Darrow is probably one of the only members of Parliament who has created an entire village, not just 30 units, but Dr. Darrow laid claim to an entire village, and he must be recognized for his efforts in that regard. One of the unique things about Granby is that you have been blessed with strong and solid leadership. And that is why you have been able to survive for so long and to make such a big contribution to the development of Dominica. And when you hear the people of Granby getting $12 million, you may believe that's a lot of money. But I believe that the contribution that Granby has made to national development, you should probably double that or triple that for the people of Granby. Because they deserve it. They have made sacrifices for it. And their leaders have died for the development of Granby. But you see, it comes with different styles. There are different styles of leaders. There are those of us who work quietly. There are those of us who can scream and shout. There are those of us who lose sleep. There are those of us who like workhorses. And there are those of us with the intellectual capacity to write and to develop. And so, here you in Granby have been blessed with all of the above. And coming from the extreme north, I always see Cottage constituency and Granby constituency as twin constituencies because we share so much in common. We should have been in Granby a long time ago. In fact, we started in Granby sometime with the Petro Casas, which were donated to us by the Venezuelan government. But as you would know, they were not the best suited for our kind of environment. And so they didn't actually survive. And we had to ensure that the next time we came to Granby, we were going to come with something very, very solid. And when I look at the buildings you have, there are buildings like yours in other parts of the country. But yours is an enhanced version of what has been done in other parts of the country. And so sometimes we see people getting things first and we get a little jealous and we ask, where is ours? But if we wait a little bit, we may end up being better off than those who went before us. And so the people of Granby have waited, and I know your impatience have been long, But today, as we speak, I cannot speak for tomorrow because the housing revolution continues. We go to Point Michelle, we go to Woodford Hill, we go to Wesley, it continues. But for today, I believe that Granby is receiving the better houses constructed by this government over the last 16 years. But it is not easy, and it's going to get more difficult as we battle this COVID pandemic. And I always tell people, give me Maria instead. Although Maria destroyed 23,000 of our homes damaged, Maria destroyed 5,000 homes totally and completely. But Maria came and it left. And thank God, 3 years after Maria, you will not be able to recognize that this was the country on the 18th of September 2017. We have made tremendous moves. And I wish to say that I believe that Dominica is better off today than it was the day before Maria. So COVID, we don't know when it's going to end. And that's a major problem for us. And as long as COVID continues, we're going to have challenges. Challenges in terms of revenue, whatever source it is, whether it's for taxation, whether it's for agricultural production, however we used to make our money, we're going to be challenged in doing it. And so we have to be very conservative in our spendings because this COVID is costing us more than $12 million maybe on a monthly basis. Every month, that is the cost of maybe, if not that amount, but pretty close to that amount. And so we have to put aside substantial amounts because like I said, we don't know when this thing is going to go away. But by the grace of God and with good leadership and the vision of our Prime Minister, who has been able to turn a country where the morning of Maria, if you had gone to Portsmouth, you would have seen tons and tons of people with their bags packed by the wharf, by the jetty, waiting to leave Dominica because they were convinced that Dominica was finished. We could never rebuild this country. And if you look at the videos and you look at the commentaries, externally, they would have said to you that there is no man island called Dominica. Today, we are very, very proud and will not give up our country for anything or anybody. Because we have worked very, very hard to take it back to where it is. And you, the people of Granby, have had a part to play in that. But Maria did change, and Erica and Maria did change our plans. And we had to do a 360 and even more. Because whereas we found out when we came into government that there were 5,000 homes that needed to be rebuilt and reconstructed, and there were 10,000 that had to be built to meet the stock, we were on that trajectory. But Maria just smashed everything up, and so we had to change our plans and we had to move all over the country to take care of areas that were more vulnerable than ours. And if you believe, here in Granby, as Ed mentioned, you had challenges, I can say to you that as any of these parents who have gotten these homes will tell you a similar story. And we had to decide where our priority was going to be. Pitt Savan had to be a priority. We had to build 300 and more in Pitt Savan because of the situation that they faced. And that does not mean that their case was more important than yours, but in terms of priority, we had to look after those. But today, your time has come, and you're here. And many people question our policy on building homes for people. But you here in Granby, like all over the country, had challenges, and that is why your housing condition was in the state that it was. The sad thing is, no other government paid attention to the housing conditions in this country except the Dominican Labour Party government. And not only to pay attention to it, but to do something about it. Because I can say to you as we speak, we have, since Maria, we have constructed over 1,500 brand new hurricane resilient homes at a time when we're not collecting money, we're not paying taxes, we're threatened by COVID, the government could still make housing a major priority. And I need to thank, as Minister of Housing, I need to thank MMC for the effort that they have put into making this housing revolution a bigger reality than we thought. We started this process in 2006, if you can remember, with our little petrol casters and money from the Chinese government. but we had to continue. It was difficult. We had to use several construction methods. We had to use several housing solutions to get to where we are. But MMC has remained a true partner in this endeavor. And I want to agree with Ed that Christopher Timmins should be an honorary citizen of the Granby community. And should he give me a Granby passport too, if you ask me. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I say, I couldn't follow Ed, but I want to share in this moment with you. And if dead people have any power, Pierre Charles must be smiling. Pierre Charles must have a big grin on his face, because that was the vision of Pierre Charles. That was what Pierre Charles fought for, and that was what Pierre Charles died for, to ensure that this community of Granby could be a better community. And thank God, Roosevelt Skerrit followed in the footsteps of Pierre Charles and those behind him. And like I said, we're all different, we all have different personalities, but the philosophy of labor has not changed. The leadership has changed, but the philosophy of labor remains, where our goal is to look out for the less fortunate and to look for those that in need and those in distress. And so our housing policy, our education policy, our health policy, our policies on small business development, our policies on rural development has remained from the days of Leblanc to the days of Roosevelt Skerrit. The Dominica Labour Party has not changed its skin and its color, because we embed it in a philosophy, we embed it in a policy, and any political party that does not have a clear philosophy, that does not know what it stands for, that will move with every shift of the wind, good times or bad times, you cannot rely on that government to deliver on any promise made to you. But this Dominican Labour Party has delivered on every single promise made to the people of Dominica. Maybe not in the time that you want it to happen, but it has happened. And today is a living example of what the Labour Party has done for the people of Granby, and what the people of Granby has done for themselves. Because had they not put the Labour Party in government, we would not be here today talking about $400,000 for poor families from Granby, or making the poor from Granby rich, as Ed said it. Only the Labour Party could do it, only the Labour Party can do it, and only the Labour Party will continue to do it. To those of you who are not receiving a key today, I want to give you the assurance that the process continues. In fact, had it not been for COVID, we would probably be on the ground, because we have already identified in the center, lands for the continuation of the housing project. And these pink marks you see, these are vacant lots in the center on which we intend to continue to build the homes for the people of Granby. And remember what I said, those of you who wait a little longer may well be better off than those who went ahead. And so I want to challenge those people who have not received. I want to challenge those of you who are waiting, that you may well receive houses nicer looking. I don't want to say much, that may be nicer looking than those ones. So let not your heart be troubled. Do not be despondent. Do not be sad. Your time is coming. And if your neighbor got today, then the next person has to be you. Because your neighbor is just before you, your neighbor got organized, and so your turn is next. I want to say to you, and Ed mentioned it, that we expect you to live as family. You living in a different kind of environment. You have people on top of you, you have people on your side. So you have to live in a way that you can enjoy your home, but your neighbor next to you can also enjoy their home. I would like to see you form yourself into a nice community group to look after the needs, to look after the infrastructure, to look after the beautification, the landscaping, the flowers. I urge you to do that as quickly as possible. The government will also set up an inspection team which will pass in from time to time to ensure that everything is okay. I want to admonish you. If you have issues with the utilities, please don't try to fix it yourself. You don't know where the lines are passing. All these lines are interconnected, and you may well drill a hole in the wrong place. So in the event that you have challenges, call on the ministry, call on NMC, and we'll come and take care of it for you as quickly as we can. There are some things that we don't expect you to do, which you won't do in your own home. We don't expect you to do it in these homes. But some people can be difficult. So very short, you will be coming back to Granby with a list of do's and don'ts, formal list of do's and don'ts. Like, for example, You cannot rent the house to somebody else. If the government, why should I write that for you, that the government give you a house for free, and next thing I hear you renting half of it and you live in half of it? Why should I give you a residential building and you put a shop selling rum and cigarette in the building? It can't happen. Why should you not dispose your garbage properly? In any home you are, small as it is, garbage disposal is a responsibility that you have. Why should we put rules in place to ensure that you properly dispose of your garbage? And why should you want to take those old galvanizing the raffin from Maria and go and build fence and say you don't want your neighbor to see you, so you fence it? You see, and you know that happening in Grand Bay. Happening in my constituency too, so I can talk about it. But these things will not be tolerated. Why should you have your pet? Well, no pets allowed to start with. But why should you have your pet upstairs, and when you hosing down the pet, everything coming downstairs, and you messing up your neighbor? So we're going to put in some strict rules and some strict conditions in place that if you don't adhere to it, then we're going to have a problem with the government and with Edio Padre. Finally, I need to say that this project didn't start last month and finish this month. That is a project that took about a year, Mr. Timmins, 10 months, about 12 months to complete. So it had to have started 12 months ago. And your padre at the time was Nurse Charles. And you can say what you want about Nurse Charles, but Nurse Charles did make a contribution in uplifting the lives of the people of Granby. She was different from Ed. It's two different people. They will never be the same. They don't have the same style. But at the end of the day, they all part of one philosophy, the Dominica Labour Party philosophy. And so we must recognize the contribution that Nurse Charles made in this development and in the general development of Granby. And I want to wish her well, and we all should wish her well in the future, wherever she is, here, there, or anywhere. And we talk about Pierre Charles already, we talk about John Fabian. We spoke of the general leadership of Granby have been very good to you, the people of Granby. And you, the people of Granby, have been called upon and will be called upon again to show your gratitude to the leadership of Granby and the leadership of Dominica. You'll be called upon to show your gratitude to the leadership of Roosevelt Skerrit. Because had it not been for Roosevelt Skerrit, with all the pretty speeches, none of us would be here. Because these monies are not tax monies. These monies are not grant monies. These monies are not monies from the World Bank or the EU. But these monies are monies that Roosevelt Skerrit spent sleepless nights hopping in planes from country to country to ensure that he could raise the necessary financing to ensure that we could be here today celebrating. And I don't care what people say, but Roosevelt, there won't be in a long time another leader like Roosevelt Skerrit. It's not going to be. And in a long time, there's not going to be a party like the Dominica Labour Party. Many of us will come, many of us will go, but the Dominica Labour Party will be here. We have been here for 50 years. Some of you were not born yet, and I can tell you, we're going to be here for another 50 years. But you, the people of Granby, must ensure that we're here for 50 years. Because you don't only support the Labour Party, you don't only vote the Labour Party, but you defend the Labour Party. Not only in Granby, but all across the country. When we're looking for Labour soldiers, when we're looking for Labour warriors, we have to come to Granby to get Labour Party supporters and warriors to defend our party. So, they're attacking us, they're attacking our PM, they're attacking our reps, but they really don't want to see the wrath of the Dominican Labour Party. And our leader has told you on several occasions, just remain cool, remain calm, because what they want to do is to derail us, to put us on a different track, to make us lose focus. But don't worry about them, they are detractors. Don't worry about them. But I can say to you that provocation, there has to be an end to provocation. You cannot continue to provoke a people over and over and over and expect them to just sit there and just take it. And to urge the people of Granby, please sit there and take it. Don't do anything about it, but just defend your party. Protect your party. You have your mouth. Call the radio station, meet them on the block, and tell them that we shall not be moved. We cannot be moved, and will never be moved. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Let's give Honorable Reginald Austria a round of applause. At this time, we'll invite Tradibel Cultural Group to give us a rendition.
Dam chebe dule o ma fi, kavale mwe ke ba mwe gwa shewi. Dam chebe dule o ma fi, kavale mwe ke ba mwe gwa shewi. Tabuye mwe hule kalaba mwe, hai tabuye mwe hule lawe ba mwe. Tabuye mwe hule kalaba mwe, me pa wina mo Japon di fe shewi. Dam chebe dule o ma fi, kavale mwe ke ba mwe gwa shewi. Ibe wozo gani mapale mwe, ugani wichile mwe, ugani chichile mwe. Ibe bishe ugani mapale mwe. Dam chebe dule umapi, kavale mwe keba mwe gwa shewi. Dam chebe dule umapi, kavale mwe keba mwe gwa shewi. Kavale wo, dam kawe swewe puso dan sebele.
I see my
As Minister of Housing and Lands in 2019, the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, initiated this project in collaboration with MMC and with the community of Granby, for which now the recipients are going to be graced with a speech from him. I'd like to invite to the podium the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, to share with us.
Thank you. Let me first of all recognize the presence of my friend and colleague, our Senior Minister and Minister for Housing, Honorable Reginald Ostry, my friend and colleague, our Pal Rep, Honorable Edward Regis, my cabinet colleagues who are here, the Member of Parliament for Roseau Central, who happens to be my wife, who's here too. Let me also recognize our dear Father Branca John, who prayed for us and who will bless the residences in a while. Our dear friends from the Diplomatic Corps, our dear brother from Cuba, our ambassador and his wife, our dear friend from the Venezuelan Embassy, and our dear friend from the People's Republic of China's Embassy here in Dominica. Let me also recognize the chairman of the Granby Village Council and councillors. Let me recognize the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Housing and other permanent secretaries and the staff of the Ministry of Housing. Also, we have Mr. Chris Timmins, the managing director of MMC, and the staff of MMC. And all of you, the residents of the Granby constituency, and especially the beneficiaries of these 30 apartment residences. I want to greet all of you, the media, and those who are following through the live broadcast of this very simple ceremony, but very important one at it. I want to, first of all, say to the Pal Rep, when he was going through the names of the beneficiaries and he was speaking about their circumstance, I took note and to say that I may have to speak to our parish priest, so that he can seek to bring the people back together, because the number of single women inside Granby, we have to fix that. We have to fix that. The country needs people. And we need plenty more people in this country. As a matter of fact, I would like to double the population of Dominica, and certainly we need us to work on that here in Granby. I also, and I'm sure if she was in Dominica, she would have been present, or former Pal Rep Nurse Charles for her exceptional leadership and guidance in that constituency in Granby. We have no doubt, and I stand by this, that Nurse Charles worked tirelessly in the 10 years that she was your Pal Rep in Granby. And she was part of our team who initiated this project, very passionate. Obviously, with all what she did in Granby, Hurricane Maria affected that, like it did in many parts of the country. But I want to especially recognize Nurse Charles and the greeter this afternoon. And each of you who are entering into these apartments, you must also pay homage and show some gratitude to the efforts of our former Pal Rep Nurse Charles. And I want to say to you from the onset, my dear friends in Granby, that this is not the end of the housing program here in this constituency. Granby certainly, and I agree, deserve many more than the 30 homes that we handed over today. And I give you the firm commitment, Pal Rep, and the villagers and residents of Granby, that the next phase that Mr. Ostry referenced will be some 70 residences to provide additional homes for the people of Granby. And I do not think that any one of us in this country should be envious of this commitment, because anything that Granby gets, Granby deserves. And for a number of reasons. The fact remains the housing situation is real in Granby, and whatever interventions we make in Granby, housing is well deserved. but also to you are hardworking people and industrious people and very committed and sincere people. We can always rely on the people of Granby. And I believe that this government, this Labour Party, has a duty and obligation to provide adequately for the people of Granby. And you will see this continue to happen in a huge way in this term of this government. We are responding to Hurricane Maria. And when I came to Granby, I believe maybe the day after Hurricane Maria, I landed up at Center. And I saw the extent of the destruction in Granby. And none of us in Granby ever believed that we would be able to bounce back, because we had lost everything that we had worked for so hard to build and put together. But we have made huge progress in this country. A small country with no natural resources outside its forests and fresh water and its people. We were able to work together with the support of our partners to respond to a disaster of such magnitude. And that came on the heels of Erica in 2015. And then when we believed that we had seen enough, here comes COVID-19 in January, February of 2020. And the experts are saying in the World Health Organization that this virus will be with us at least for the next 2 years. And therefore, it places the economies of the entire world in a difficult situation, because you are unable to plan for the future, not knowing what the future is going to be like. And so this is why this government has given a commitment to Dominicans, a commitment which we gave after Hurricane Maria, and a commitment which we have given and maintained, committed to in practice, that we will not send anyone home. There is nowhere in the world where you would have been impacted by such a hurricane and now this pandemic, and you would keep everybody employed. Every public officer is employed. And everybody receives his salary before the month end comes. And sometimes people behave as if, well, you know, there's some trees in Makaton that has money in it, and you know, and we go to Makaton, pay the town, and when we get the bags of money, we bring it down in treasury and we pour it down on the people's salary. We are doing this thing because we are committed to the people. Because this government recognizes that in this time, it is important that we maintain the dignity of people to be able to earn their daily bread. Likewise, the National Employment Program. Every month we send $120,000 to Granby to pay for the NEP. Every month. $3.5 million every month is spent on the National Employment Program. And in many countries in the world, this is not an obligation like in the case in Dominica. This is by virtue of a cabinet decision. But we maintain the NEP even when some idiots in the country were criticizing the NEP. This government remained committed to the NEP. Because we know how people live in Dominica. All of the names which Ed Regis, the power rep, mentioned there, I have been to every one of those people's homes. I know how they live. You understand? I know how they live, and I know the circumstance of these people. So when he spoke about my friend there from Montaigne, I've been to that home. And so I am so happy for you, the beneficiaries, those of you who are here today to receive the homes. And of course, there will always be people who could be on that 40 list, who are not on the list. But there's a commitment from this government that we will address your need. And the fact is, the list is shorter today than it was yesterday. Because just by this decision of having 30 people, 150 individuals will be in a better housing situation come tonight. And you know, and when people talk in this country about our government must do this and so forth. I asked them, but before this government, there were many governments before. There were many governments before. When our parents fell sick, they would die because they would not have access to any prime minister or any power rep or any minister to go to get help to go to Martinique or Guadeloupe. Because this Labour Party is a party that stands for the people, especially the less fortunate among us. And so when you see, my dear friends, understand this, when you see these people out there attacking Roosevelt Skerrit, they're not really attacking me because of me as a person, They attack me because of the work I am doing for the people of Dominica. So they do not like this kind of ceremonies where ordinary working class Dominicans are being elevated. They don't like those things. Because you can see who is against me. It's people who feel like they could have controlled me, but they can't control me. There are people who wanted things from the government that I did not give them, so now they vex with me. That's what it is. And there are people, because we are elevating the children of Dominica, the ordinary working class children of Dominica, they're upset with us. Because you know what? Labour Party is leveling the playing field for Dominicans across the board. That's what they're upset about. But let me tell them, nobody's moving us, The voters of Dominica will determine what they do with the Dominica Labour Party. And as far as I hear it in Dominica, Dominicans are saying whenever, however, they're staying with the Dominica Labour Party. And this is when we talk about university education, if you do not have a name, a surname in Dominica, if your parents do not know somebody in the ministry who could pull a string for your child, the first time ordinary working class people started going to university was when Labour sent Dominicans to Cuba in the late 70s. First time. And then we sent people to Cyprus and Yugoslavia of the days with President Tito then. We sent Dominicans to study the Labour Party. And this is why we can have medical doctors and lawyers in Grand Bay and elsewhere in Dominica coming from ordinary families, not from the big surname families. And so it is important for us in this country to understand we must always defend this government. Because the attack on the government is on the attack of what we're doing. We liken this thing in the days, Jesus was crucified because, why? He raised the dead to life. He made the blind see. He made the lame walk. And they crucified him. They crucified him because of his works. Because the power that be at the time felt that they were being displaced by the interventions of Jesus Christ. And we are just mere mortals and we're just disciples and missionaries of Christ. Because if we say we are a Christian country, we must stand by what the Bible says. And the Bible says we must take care of the less fortunate. And so when I hear even sometimes pastors criticizing what the government doing for the poor, I'm saying, well, which Bible are they reading there? Which Bible are they reading? That's one of the most important scriptures in the Bible. And it says when he comes back to judge the living and the dead, he will ask you these questions. What have you done for the least of my brothers? And so when I see my troublesome friend, that lady troublesome, Vina Blanc. Moi, vous oubliez comment tu casses là ça au samedi. Vous oubliez comme ça. So, my friends, we're here to celebrate with you. And so we have to recognize the commitment of this government to this country. Universal access to education was created by us. Access to state college created by us. Every child 18 and younger has free access to the hospital. And every person 60 and over has free access to the hospital. Before us, you had to pay user fees. And many of us didn't want to leave Granby and Mountain to go to the hospital because we were owing them. And we were afraid they shame us, so we stayed home and got sick and died. So my friends, this period in this country requires those of us who are concerned about Dominica to work together. There are people who will spend all their days and their lives with the talent that the Lord has given to them to seek to undermine what we're doing for the people of Dominica. But the Lord don't reward that kind of behavior. Yes, this government, and I accept this government is not perfect, and we will subject ourselves to criticism. But this machinations that are taking place in Dominica, where there are people who are using their talent and their resources to deny the people of Dominica a better way of life. That cannot be right. And so they will come here and they will go on radio and criticize. But if they cannot give you biscuit, why should they take bread from your mouth? They come here and criticize, but they're not offering anything to replace that which you are receiving. And so, my friends, we are committed to this country. It is not easy. We don't complain because leaders were not placed in positions to complain. We must find solutions. And so that's what we're doing. And notwithstanding the challenges that we're confronting financially and economically as a nation, we are committed to reaching out to our Dominican people and to making life better for you. And so what we need now in Dominica is for us to be more productive. We have to give more back to the country. We're working, we have to be more diligent. We have to go to work on time. And we have to give the extra hour to the job to get it done today rather than leaving it for tomorrow. We have to ensure that our children stay in school. Our children stay in school. That we cannot use the monies that we're supposed to provide for our children to go to school to have this fancy hairstyle or to put the acrylic nails and so forth. That can come later on. We have to set priorities, ladies and gentlemen. And the education of our children must be number one. Must be number one, my friends, in this. And I want to also recognize the commitment of your pal rep, Ed Regis. You know, Ed has been in the vineyard for many, many years at the service of the people of Granby. And I give you the assurance that we will work with him as we continue to address the challenges confronting the people of this great Granby constituency. And so let us all work together. We all have different views and different perspectives and so forth, but we all want life to be better for us. And the question is, what will be your contribution to that effort? And you have to work together with the Parliament, because the more you work together with him, is the lighter the work for him and the faster we can get the job done. So let us put our differences aside and work for the greater good of ourselves, our community, our constituency, our country, Dominica. And so I want to thank MMC for the continued partnership in this housing revolution. And we're also working with you on health, and we look forward to continue on this very mutually successful and mutually beneficial endeavor. And we'll commend you, Chris, and all your staff at MMC here in Dominica. I want to give recognition to the Minister for Housing, Honorable Reginald Ostry, for his leadership and his compassion. Because in this business, you need compassion, you need love, and you need to be able to understand the plight of people to really get the job done. And Ostry certainly has all those characteristics. And to all my cabinet colleagues and the Ministry of Housing, the PS, and all the staff there who played a part in ensuring this project comes to success. Let us move Ostry very quickly and Ed, so we can start working on these 70 additional homes to provide better housing for the people of Granby. And so we in this COVID period, and as I said to you earlier, the experts are saying that COVID is going to be with us for the next 2 years. And therefore, we have to find a responsible balance between protecting the health of our people and ensuring that the productive sectors can continue to function. And that's what the government has been able to do. We have been able to allow tourists to come in with some clear guidelines and protocols so that the hotels can open, the restaurants can open, and people can get jobs and people can go back to work. The government can earn some revenue, and we can continue to help the people of Dominica. But we have to adhere to the protocols and so forth. And so we have to support the Ministry of Health and its efforts. They can't do it alone. We all must play our part in helping this. And we open our schools. We are one of the first countries in the Caribbean to open all our schools. And for the last 2 weeks, everything has gone well so far, thank God. And it is because of the maturity of our people. When we work together, we can find solutions to big problems. And I want to commend the teachers, the Minister for Education and the Permanent Secretary and the staff of the Ministry of Education, the parents and the students for working together with us to ensure we could have had a successful launch of our return to school. Because I know them children, when they're home, they're eating too much and so on. And you know, so I know many of you were happy to send them to school, because, you spend a lot of money on snacks, and when the children open a box of juice and they're not finished, they're closing, you're not putting it away, So we're happy for this and so on. And in this period also, we have to also watch our health. We have to exercise. We have to watch our sugar content. We have to watch the salt, because diabetes and hypertension and illnesses associated with this are a major cause of concern for us in Dominica. So COVID is serious, but also we have a high incidence of diabetes and hypertension. And so we need to ensure that we continue to educate the population about the need for us to take care of ourselves. So let us walk. We can walk to store and come back in the morning, exercise, and so that we can keep the health going. But Ed, I'm happy to be here. People of Granby, I'm happy to be here. Granby is a place I love very much, and it's a place that we have tremendous love and support and so on. And I'm really happy for you. I wish, honestly, we will be given 100 homes today, because there's so many out there who I know who could equally be on this list today. But we give you that assurance, my friends, that this is not the end of the world. This is just the beginning of the process. And certainly your time will come. And as Austria indicated, let us thank God for those who have received, so that the Lord can bless us in return. Thank you very much, and God bless.
At this time, I'd like you to give the Honorable Prime Minister a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. I'd like to invite Father Branca John, who will bless the keys for us. So let's just enter into a period of reverence as we bless those homes.
Praise the living God. It is a wonderful thing to receive the keys to your home. It is a powerful thing to enter into your own space. There are not many other feelings like that. And so I share in your joys, those of you who are receiving keys this afternoon. But as I receive those physical keys, let us remember that the homes that we really want to enter, the home that we really want to enter, is the eternal home in heaven. So while we are grateful for this home, let us cooperate with the grace of God the best that we can, so that one day we too can share in our eternal home in the kingdom of God. Lord, we ask you to be close to your servants who will receive the keys in a few minutes and will move into their home this evening. We ask for your blessing. Be their shelter when they are at home, their companion when they are away, and their welcome guest when they return. And at last receive them into the dwelling place you have prepared for them in your Father's house, where you live forever and ever. Spirit of the living God, on us, Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on us. Melt us, Father. Fill us and use us. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh. Let this water call to mind our baptism into Jesus Christ, who has redeemed us by his death and resurrection. Amen. And may the peace of Jesus Christ rule in our hearts. May the word of Jesus in all its richness dwell in us, so that whatever we do in word and in work, we will do in the name of the Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Father. At this time, I would like to invite the Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Minister of Housing and Lands, and the Parliamentary representative to step forward as we present the keys to the beneficiaries.
Thank you. Good afternoon again. And we will call the names and you will come up for your keys. Miss Lashata Laurent. Joyce Benjamin. Vivian Bellevue. Zinnia Noel. Vina Blanc. Arifa Bella. Anfia Kazimi. Claudia Tavernier. Clarissa Charles. Joanita Charles. Oh, sorry, it's Ignatia Charles. Nimish. Stephen Elise. Gemalyn John. Anis Luis. Sharon Fontaine. Tayomi Litham. Shema Henry. Alan C. Richards. Mercy Douglas. Rose Dupini. Janice Abraham. Kiana Thomas. Reggie Henry. Janita John Baptist. Alison Boston. Henson Kasimi. Andrea Tavernier. Marissa Thomas. Celia Noel. Cecile Gabriel. Suzette. And finally, Clarissa Morris. That's it. Thank you so much.
At this time, I would like to invite to the podium Ms. Shatter Laura to give us a vote of thanks.
Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, wife of the Prime Minister, Mrs. Melissa Popon Skerrit, Parliamentary Representative for the Granby constituency, Mr. Edward Regist, Minister for Housing, Honorable Reginald Austri, Parish Priest, Father Branca John, the Chairman for the Granby Village Council, Mr. Ahmad Thomas, Mr. Christopher Timmins, Managing Director of MMCE Limited, Charlie Bell Cultural Group, invited dignitaries, other ministers of government, and their audience, a pleasant good afternoon. I deem it a great honor and privilege having been asked to extend vote of thanks on this historic occasion. Firstly, I express heartfelt thanks to Almighty God for granting us this day, allowing 30 families the opportunity to become homeowners. In addition, sincerest thanks and gratitude to the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica for his continued assistance and vision as it relates to the housing sector. As a result of this, many families, like that of mine, can boast of owning a home of their own, not only in the Grand Bay constituency, but throughout Dominica. Once again, on behalf of all the recipients, we say a huge thank you.